Bane, Please remain standing. And join me in the words of our covenant found on our screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. Let this be our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, come, you are welcome here. Whoever you are, wherever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. I'm Michael Leuchtenberger, and I get to serve as the settled minister of this caring, curious, and ever-evolving congregation. It is good to be here. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on your life journey, welcome here. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Please be seated.
Welcome to worship. So good to be with you this morning, in person and online. My name is Dory LeCount, and I serve as the Family Engagement Coordinator of this music-loving, children-embracing congregation. We are here to support each other on our own and our shared spiritual journeys, centered in love, compassion, curiosity, courage, and joy. I am especially happy to welcome first-time and returning visitors. If you are a visitor, we hope you will find us a community eager to welcome you and respectful of the path that has brought you here this morning. Anyone wearing a colorful floral stole, hold them up if you have them. Oh, I have one. I've got one too. Karen has one over here. Anyone wearing a colorful floral stole is glad to answer any questions that you may have. There is written info in the pew folders and at the visitors table for you to take. For our online participants, it would be wonderful if you introduced yourself on the chat so we know that you are here with us. Our church buildings are located on traditional homelands of the Pennacook Abenaki people, past and present. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land and the people who have stewarded it for generations.
For a complete listing of church events and news, check out our weekly e-bulletin or copy of Parish Notes, our monthly newsletter. Here are just a few highlights. Our second hour offering right after the service include a sermon dialogue with me in the parlor, chair yoga in the chapel with Susan Casey, and the Anxious Generation, yes, book discussion group in the Ken Thomas room with Karen Cox. For kids ages 5 and up, our Young Explorer program will meet in the Armenia White Room. And younger kids are welcome to stay in our Rainbow Room nursery always. At 12:30, all are invited to Fellowship Hall for our free community luncheon. And at 1 p.m., a new round of Exploring membership sessions is starting up. If you're curious to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, how our congregation works, and just want to meet some others who are new to our community, please come to the Ken Thomas room at 1 p.m. Walk-ins are very much welcome. Lorraine Ellis and I will be there. What was that, Lorraine? There are 4 sessions. Yeah, so that. Tonight at 7 p.m., join me for our community drum circle right here in the sanctuary. And then Monday, our mindfulness practice group would love to see you at 6:30. And Tuesday, you get to move in because we do something every day here. All are welcome to join our weekly welcome dinner table at 6, a free conversation-rich meal of plant-based, low-packaging options, food with gluten-free options. And then Thursday, tech-free game night, tween style at 30 p.m. in the courtyard and parlor. Great offering. And next Sunday after the service, be ready to learn about and practice spiritual hospitality and welcoming in a playful manner. Each week, we light our chalice. Band, if you could come forward. Each week, we light our chalice to set this time apart and to mark it as sacred. If you are at home and you have a candle or chalice ready, I invite you to light it now as Dory lights our chalice in the sanctuary. Is up, O flame, by thy light glowing, so to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Solid ground, you gotta keep your heart wide open. Though the waves may toss you around, you gotta keep your heart wide open till your faith pulls you back to solid ground. You gotta keep your heart wide open. Though the waves wanna pour you around, you gotta keep your heart wide open. Let your faith push you back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. round. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open for the wind took my faith. Gonna put to solid ground. We're gonna keep our hearts wide open. Though my family wanna push you around, wanna push us around. We're gonna keep our hearts wide open till our faith on the wreck to solid ground. One last time, gonna back to solid ground. We're gonna keep our hearts wide open. Though the waves are gonna push us around, we're gonna keep our hearts wide open till the wind gonna bring us back to solid ground.
Please repeat after me. It is a blessing to be.
It is a blessing to be.
It is a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here now. It is a blessing to be here now together.
It is a blessing to be here now together. When our hearts are wide open, belonging is not the absence of difference. It is the courageous weaving of difference into connection. When our hearts are wide open, we can begin by listening. Not listening to the debate or to defeat, but listening to understand. When I hear your story and you hear mine, something happens. It is sacred work. When our hearts are wide open, we realize that even when our convictions diverge, our hearts beat with the same human needs: dignity, safety, joy, love, belonging. We begin to see the face of kinship where once we saw only the other. Bridges are built not only with words but with shared lives. When our hearts are wide open and we serve side by side, sing together, create together, the walls between us soften. Difference does not vanish, but we can draw the circle wider, creating a circle of belonging that extends beyond the echo chambers of our zones of comfort. A true belonging asks of us humility to hold our convictions firmly and yet gently. To say, I believe this deeply, but I know I do not hold the whole truth. There's also room for you. This is the work of bridge building, to walk onto the bridge with curiosity instead of fear, to risk vulnerability instead of armor, to make space for the possibility that we ourselves might be transformed. When our hearts are wide open, what would it feel like, look like, taste like? A society where belonging is not sameness, but shared humanity. A society where bridges are stronger than walls. A society where all of us, with our differences intact, can finally say, this is home. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing 1023 in our teal hymnals, Building Bridges. Love it when technology works. Not so much when it doesn't work. Oh well. I would love to invite all the young and young at heart to come forward for our time for all ages. And down. Yeah, you don't. And Jim has another mic here. Okay.
Yeah, come on up here.
Yeah. Do you want the microphone?
Yeah, Karen will need this microphone. All right. I will need 4 or 5 volunteers who are not already volunteering to help to come on up and join us up here, adults. So maybe Amir and Beth, you will be some of those adults. And 3 more people to come on up and join us up here. Come on up. I'm going to ask the people that have just come up to make a circle around Karen, facing her. A little, maybe not quite so close, but a close circle. This circle is our echo chamber. We are going to hear Karen make a series of statements, and this echo chamber is always going to agree with her. Always. Okay? And we'll see how that makes Karen feel.
I like this.
If you are on the left side of our sanctuary, you are also always going to agree with Karen. If you are on the right side of the sanctuary, you can agree with Karen if you agree, or you can choose to disagree. And we'll see that some people have very specific statements to make. Okay, let's hear our echo chamber. Karen, go ahead.
I love the UU. The UU is the best church around. Yes. Keep on going. Our values inspire the kind of kindness and hope the world desperately needs right now. Everyone should come to the UU. Yes. If everyone were a Unitarian Universalist, the world would be a much better place. We should teach everyone about the UU Church.
Pause right there. Echo chamber, if you start to hear some voices in disagreement, I want you to let go of hands and just start to open up to any new voices you hear so that you all can start to hear them too.
Children need to be learning our shared values if we have any chance of a future. The 7 principles should be a part of the school curriculum, and we should make attendance at a UU church mandatory for families. In fact, why stop with families? UUism will save our country once every person is required to study our principles and values. Mandatory UU education for all is the only way out of this mess.
Thank you.
All people should be free to find their own truth.
So, Karen, I'd like to hear from you. When you were stating your statements and the circle was around you, agreeing with you, how did that feel?
Very safe.
And then when the circle started to open and we started to hear some booing, how did that feel?
Scary but thought-provoking.
Thought-provoking. That's the piece that we want to think about today. Our circle can open, yeah. Those echo chambers that we're standing in, they feel really good. They feel really safe to be inside of them. The people around us are agreeing with us. They think the same way. But we saw how quickly those echo chambers can bring us from something that is really benign and true to something that might still feel a little bit true for many of us, but is also very scary and actually against the very core of what we're doing. And so I wanted to use this example so that we can think about a little bit of what is happening to us right now and in this country. And it might not be with UUism, but it's happening in other ways. But what if it was happening with UUism? What if it was happening with Unitarian Universalists? How would we be able to step out of our echo chambers and hear the diverse voices around us so that we don't go too far? Thank you. Please think about that as Michael continues.
I feel like you're expecting me to sort of play devil's advocate. Boo, no, but no. So please, if you can, please rise here and help us sing our children to our Young Explorer Guide programming. Stay on up here with us. May our minds be open to new learning. May our lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace. May our minds be open to new learning. May our lips bring truth into the world. May our hearts know love and our hands do the work of justice as we go our way in peace. As we go our way in peace. Please be seated. We now turn to the joys and the sorrows we carry individually and as a community. Will you take a breath with me? As we surrender to this moment, let us notice our body resting, grounded, supported by the earth. As the piano begins to play, you're invited to come forward, light a candle or place a stone at the table to your right, or add a note to the Holding Our Grief wheel. And if you wish, come to the microphone, tell us your name, and share briefly from your heart so the congregation can hold you in love.
My name is Krista Robichaud, and I lit a candle because yesterday there was a shooting in Nashua at a golf course. So I'm just thinking of all those people affected by that shooting.
My name is Susan Casey, and I'm lighting a candle for my niece, Lisa. Lisa's diabetic, and she's currently in the hospital, maybe having another amputation of a toe, and it now has pneumonia. So, lighting a candle for and sending positive thoughts for her.
My name is Martha May Emerson, and I would like to celebrate a joyful time that happened this month, and especially share with all of you because it involves a member of our congregation who turned 96 this month after living a very incredible life that spanned 3 continents and summited many, many, many mountains. So I'm sharing this joy of the celebration of Hugo Tosco's life.
Hi, I'm Betsy Black, and I have a sorrow, which is a dear friend of Kathy and mine, named Paige. Just got a very bad diagnosis of Lewy body dementia. And joy that yesterday, right here, we had a bunch of folks, some of whom are here, learning about ways to be more kind to ourselves and therefore more kind in the world. Session, our kindness clinic led by Jean Ann Woodington, and it was really a delightful and very helpful experience.
Hi, my name is Nancy Wills, and I have a celebration. Yesterday, we had the memorial service for my husband, and so many people at this church made it so wonderful. They took care of all the flowers. They took care of all the food, and I've had so much support. People calling me, texting me food. Sunday mornings is one of the most difficult times for me because he introduced me to this church and he just loved coming. And so I carry with me his picture, so he's with me. And there was something else I was going to say, but I don't remember. So I guess that will be it.
Hi, I'm Betsy Peabody, and I light this candle for my mother. She's 96 and nearing the end of her life, and I just hope and pray that it's full of peace and love as she leaves this earth.
Thank you. My name is Mandy Nason, and I know I always get zappy. This is a candle of gratitude for the Good Samaritans and the emergency responders that helped Wendy and I. She had a pretty bad bike accident about a month ago. Luckily, she's still here to tell the story.
Larry Davis. I share a joy of having been in Canada for the last 4 days and see that there is still sanity. And also for attending a performance of Carmina Burana at the Toronto Symphony with a huge choir, children's choir, gigantic orchestra. It was incredible and incredibly moving.
I just wanted to share joy that through a series of consequences and actions, starting with the tree guy that told us that our neighbors were moving, my daughter and soon-to-be son-in-law just moved in practically next door. In fact, our yards abut each other, so the first order of action is putting in a gate so we don't have to walk out and around the corner to get there.
Wedding on October 18th. Woo.
I'm Karen Cox, and I'm lit a candle of gratitude that the cell phone ban is going really well in school. I had a lot of anxiety about it, that I was going to be the tip of the spear and fight that fight every single day, but it's going great. The cafeteria is loud again, and the kids are talking to each other, so I have hope for the future. Woohoo!
Good morning. My name's Jay Godfrey. I have joy and sorrow. The joy is yesterday I led a bunch of my teammates on the ride to defeat ALS in Wayland, Massachusetts. I'm so grateful for the support they gave me, both keeping me riding the bike right and just the emotional support. My sorrow is I'm doing this because ALS took my dad's life when I was 12 years old, and you don't outgrow it. Thank you for listening.
Now I invite Jim to light one final candle on behalf of those who are not with us today or who chose to remain seated. C.J. Landsman shared that his mom died this Thursday. Many of you know his wife died just less than a month ago. So he writes, yes, another important female figure in my life, both gone within a month of each other. She was on hospice and started her transition last week. Her funeral was on Friday, this Friday, per Jewish customs, to return the body to the earth as quickly as possible. Because of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, they're not sitting shiva, but only gathering with immediate family today. Whether your joys or sorrows have been named or remain in the silence of your hearts, know that you are not alone. May we hold our earth in our hearts with joy in her nature, in awe of her majesty, power, and resilience, taking responsibility for the hurts that we have caused her. Will you take another breath with me? This week we hold in love Lauren Hill and Kelly Moore. Please join me in our musical meditation, our sung prayer, Spirit of Life, number 123 in our gray hymnals. Spirit of of compassion, blow in the that be so, and amen. Last Sunday, I talked about the history and symbolism of our UU chalice and the role Waitstill and Martha Sharp played in that history. How they helped people in Prague and then later in France to get food, find shelter, and escape across borders. How they arranged secret passages for children. How they secured travel papers for artists, writers, and political resistors. And how often they themselves were followed and watched. How they lived each day knowing they were in danger, and yet they kept on going for the sake of those who had no safe place to go. And how their courage was so remarkable that others took notice as they joined the Sharps, our efforts, the Unitarian Service Committee, and now the UUSC, the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, emerged as a result. Many of us feel we are once again in a period of time where the institutions and human rights established by democracy are under threat and modes of resistance are called for to develop for the sake of those who have no safe place to go. Jeff Fetter will now share with us one such effort that he is spearheading together with his wife, Erin Stewart. Both have been long-term members here of our congregation, and their creative and courageous initiative is grounded in our UU faith, both in idea and in number.
Thanks, Michael. So I'm Jeff Fetter. It's my wife, Erin Stewart. We've been members of this church since 2008 or 2006, depending on how you count it. We've been members of the Family Covenant group. Our kids are around. And I think that, like many of us after the last election, we started to look for historical examples of how to live well in what might be coming. And looking through historical examples of how people did that, themes came up that we saw, including affinity circles during the civil rights movement, other ways of organizing under authoritarian states, Nazi Germany and others, and the idea of small groups of people who trusted each other, helped each other, and were connected in some secure way. That was a theme. And so some of you may have been at the after service talk in February or so when I first broached this topic to folks in this group, and over the course of the last several months, we've grown the number of groups we have to something like 20 in this state and other states, and we're looking to grow them more. Really, the idea is to have a group of folks that you meet with regularly that you know are committed to democracy, the rule of law, and supporting each other and supporting those who are harmed by folks who do not take the rule of law seriously. We figure are kind of the two non-negotiables. Each group has its own focus. There's some more focused on trans rights or economic issues, some that are just everybody has their own projects, so you come together and support each other. That's kind of what ours is more like, I suppose. But what's non-negotiable is that it's nonviolent, and we use signal for communications, because that's the foundation of the trust that communications are safe. So, different ways you could get involved. If you reach out to Erin and or me, you can join an existing group. If you have a group of folks that you know that maybe are not here but are in your life, you could start a group. If you're part of a covenant group or a book group or something that's already sort of sounds like what we've already just described, but could take on a model and take on the connections that this provides, you could affiliate your group. Or perhaps you belong to a group that is maybe not ready for the whole model, but you think would be a useful connection. You could be a friend of the Sharp Circles. So really, the timing is important on this. talking with some folks that have lived under, full-bore authoritarian, mature authoritarian states, the advice is there comes a time, potentially, when it is harder to do this kind of thing. It is harder to find trusted folks. And perhaps some of you have already seen in your own work lives or other parts of your life that neighbors telling on neighbors, folks online complaining about things that you may have said that are totally within your rights, but trying to stifle your free speech. When it gets harder, it gets harder.
Talk about the ways that they work together and what they do.
Yeah, so some of the ways that we work together, we've got circles of, that we've helped out with new Americans who have had different difficulties. We've had times when we've had to support each other. I'm not sure which exact story you were thinking of.
Just the idea that the way that we're interconnected, one person from each circle is in a signal group together. We have de-identified lists of people's skills so that we all have networks, we all have skills, we all have expertise, and that if there's an ICE raid in your community, we've had some of our Ukrainian families are at risk of deportation now and have asked for help getting to Canada, that we can rely on each other. We can say, well, we have a circle in Oregon that is specializing in Ukrainian stuff. Let's reach out to them and see what they have. We all bring vast networks and knowledge, and this allows us to kind of corral it together in trusted ways.
So I want to stress, too, that what's more important than what we might be against is what we're for. I was a registered Republican until 2016. This is not about any particular issue, insofar as it is about the fact that we can't solve any issue satisfactorily, peacefully, and in a way that all of us would feel is in accord with our values if we don't protect democracy in the way we solve those problems and protect each other while we're doing it. That's what we're for. So after this, Aaron and I will be at a table out by where Michael usually stands, and you can talk to us and sign up if you want to get more information. Thank you.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle wide.
sadness and in your grief. From all the pain, it seems there's no relief. We will hold you until the storms abide. Draw the circle, draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, right wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle, draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song. No one stands alone, standing side by side. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle, draw the
Last Sunday, I finished my sermon singing a version of the song I keep hearing in my heart as I sit with our theme of belonging. I won't sing it again, but oh, the longing for belonging, it is real and it is strong, with the yearning for connection, for respect, a holy song. Our dignity acknowledged, with love centered, we can flourish. In a meadow of belonging, each can flower or move on. Many meadows overlapping, open to each other's fragrance, each with value, beauty, kindness, a community that's grown to fulfill our heart's deep longing to be known and to belong. Oh, the longing for belonging, it is real and it is strong, with the yearning for connection, for respect, a holy song. You helped me sing this song, echoing back what came to me in the moment. Thank you. The lyrics reflect the core elements identified by Powell and Menendian in their book, Belonging Without Othering. You might remember, those of you who were there, inclusion, a core thing that's objectively there. If there's no inclusion, there cannot be belonging. Recognition, feeling recognized, sense of connection. And then agency, right? That sense that you can somehow impact what is happening in that community, in that place of belonging. That is core. And yet, in addition, I keep playing with the image of the meadow of belonging. And as I shared last week, Claude, my AI companion, was rather taken by the image. A meadow full of bloom, not a manicured garden with everything in neat rows, but a wild, diverse space where countless different flowers, grasses, and plants grow together, each with its own shape, color, and way of reaching towards the sun, yet all sharing the same soil, the same dirt, the same rain, the same light. The meadow doesn't ask the wildflower to be more like the oak saplings, or the ferns to stand as tall as the prairie grass. Each belongs simply by being what it is. In a matter of belonging, there's room for the quiet mosses and the bold sunflower. Who's a bold sunflower in here? Anyone? Oh, all right, we got some. Aaron Stewart, all right. So the rest of you are quiet mosses? I don't believe it. Not my experience with you. But for the deep-rooted trees and the delicate morning glories that need something to climb. Some plants bloom early, others late in the season, but the meadow is richer for this diversity of timing, of needs, of gifts. The soil itself is enriched by this diversity. When the leaves fall and flowers fade, they become compost that nourishes and everything else. Our struggles, our stories, even our failures become part of what feeds the whole community. And like any living ecosystem, right, a meadow of belonging is resilient. When storms come, the community of roots holds the soil together. The variety of plants means that if some struggle in drought, others can thrive and provide shelter. To me, meadows of belonging are more than an appealing image, something to get poetic about. They express my conviction that thriving within the superstructures of our global mega communities ultimately depends on our ability and willingness to find and co-create places of belonging. And here's the element that Powell and Menendian failed to highlight. Belonging cannot blossom in the anonymity of millions. To be known by millions is impossible for the average person, for anybody. To be known the way we long to be known requires a scale of community, I believe, in the hundreds, not the millions. Yes, many meadows overlapping, open to each other's fragrance, but a meadow, not a continental forest, I picture as the essential building block to a kinder, more peaceful, less anxious, more joyous world. Our congregation, I believe, is one such meadow, one such building block. By co-creating and caring for this meadow of belonging again and again, we do more than offer belonging to a few hundred people. We help build a larger world desperately in need of people who feel they belong. And I'm convinced this longing for belonging is not limited to Unitarian Universalists, to people in shop circles, to people who view politics through a lens colored by liberal values. The longing for belonging transcends most identities I can imagine. It can be a foundation for listening and connecting beyond our echo chambers, as good as they sometimes feel, right? For building bridges across difference, however hard that may be, since we are going to have to live here with each other, as Ezra Klein pointed out in his podcast on September 16th. Anyone else heard that? All right, back there, okay. He was reflecting on his reaction to the murder of Charlie Kirk while speaking at Utah Valley University, acknowledged how the murder had shaken him rather deeply. In the days after his assassination, when he'd closed his eyes, this is Ezra Klein, he kept imagining a bullet going through a neck. But what disturbed him in a different way was when he would open his eyes and looked online to see some of Kirk's allies declaring war, insisting that normal politics had failed, that the time to cleanse the United States of the radical left, whatever that means, had come. And when he'd see some of Kirk's critics mocking or reveling in his death, sharing clips of his worst moments, suggesting in one way or another that he deserved this, that we were somehow better off. Klein acknowledged that this was not everybody, of course. It was not most of us. It never is. But the nature of online algorithms meant it made for a lot of what the most politically engaged were seeing of one another. We can feel the temperature rising. I agree with Klein when he observes that in his and my lifetime, we have never felt as close to some kind of violent national rupture. Because it's not just Kirk. A man tried to burn Josh Shapiro and his family alive in their home. A man broke into Nancy Pelosi's home to kidnap her, and when he didn't find her, he fractured her husband's, 82-year-old husband's skull with a hammer. The former Speaker of the Minnesota House and her husband were assassinated. The chief executive officer of United Healthcare was gunned down in Midtown Manhattan, and many lionized his killer. Violence is viral. It infects and it spreads, he says. Violence is combustible. It blazes into civil wars, world wars, totalitarian turns. Who knows which spark will light the wildfire? Klein had written a New York Times opinion piece about Kirk just hours after he was murdered. In that piece, he made the point that one can disagree with virtually everything Kirk believed about politics. One can detest some of what he said and did, and yet still believe, that he was there on that stage practicing politics the right way, which is showing up to college campuses and inviting people who disagreed with him to talk with him. While Kirk, in my sense here, didn't really go to college campuses to build bridges or draw the circle wider, I do respect his willingness to go and engage with those he knew would disagree. This is hard work. Regardless of your starting place, your tribal affiliation in the social and political skirmish of persuasion, work I wish I did more myself. Work I wish was more prevalent among those who are aligned with my own values. It is challenging to treat disagreement as a beginning rather than an ending. Many appreciated Klein's piece, particularly on his writing, particularly on the right. It saw their friend and ally more as he saw himself. And yet he got clobbered by many that were close at his own politics who were infuriated by it. Privately and publicly, they offered the worst things Kirk had said and done, like starting a watch list of leftist professors, busing people to the protest that led to the January 6th insurrection, telling his political foes that they should be deported, saying the Democratic Party hates this country, saying the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. Friends said to him, look, we can oppose political violence without whitewashing this guy. So I raised the issue of Kirk's murder with our youth group on Friday. It's 2 days ago. And within moments, the room of 10 high school students was ablaze with strong feelings and a range of concerns. And they wanted to know whether they could speak freely, since some felt they could not do so at their school. If Charlie Kirk had come to Concord, would you have attended, I asked? Why? Why not? How about you? Those events sure were not designed to be dialogues, at times for reflection, times for hearts being wide open to the possibility of new insights and change in position. The speaker clearly came to convince and to persuade, firmly rooted in the rightness of his own convictions. So, would you be on a panel with him? I inquired of the youth. A tricky proposition, given his facility with making up facts on the fly with persuasive confidence that would need serious study to be prepared to counter, the youths argued. Well, what then are the limits of free speech, if any? The conversation continued to explore. Free speech is foundational, yes, but what about the cancel culture of the left so prevalent in recent years? What do you mean? I was asked to clarify. So I reminisced about my days in college in the late 80s and early 90s, and the spoken and unspoken instructions I received by the culture on the Brown University campus of what was politically correct to express and what was not. The question of who gets to say what and not be shamed into silence has a long history and a potent presence. In her book, Calling In, How to Start Making Change with Those You'd Rather Cancel, political activist Loretta J. Ross tells story after story of how the cancel culture on the left has undermined so many of the projects close to its collective heart. Calling In, as opposed to calling out, is a memoir, a manifesto, and a handbook that shows practical ways to communicate during conflicts, allowing for productive relationship with those who are tempted to walk away from. This did not come easy to her. In 1979, Loretta Ross was a single mother in Washington, D.C., who'd had to drop out of Howard University. She couldn't pay her last year of tuition. She was working at the D.C. Crisis Center when the organization got a letter from a man in prison saying he wanted to learn how not to be a rapist anymore. At first, Ross was furious. As a survivor of sexual violence, she wanted to write back, pouring out her rage. Instead, she made a different choice to reject the response her trauma was pushing her toward. This choice set her on a path to develop the philosophy that would become the guide to guide her whole career. Rather than calling people out, try to call even your unlikeliest allies in. Hold them accountable, but do so with love. Ross is a black woman who's deprogrammed white supremacists and a survivor who's taught convicted rapists the principles of feminism. Again and again, she learned that inviting them into conversation instead of conflict and focusing on shared values over a desire to punish was the more strategic choice to make real change. As a 21-year-old, she got involved in local activism in D.C. when her landlord tried to evict everyone in her building so more expensive condominiums could be built. That group of folks managed to stop the project, having the tenants buy the building instead. There was a great sense of potential in the 70s in D.C. Home rule, statehood, fair housing, funded schools, real voting rights, all seemed within reach. But she watched that window of possibility shut quickly with little to show for it. As she writes, instead of collaborating, that loose coalition of mostly white leftist groups turned on each other, developing a culture of narrow critique and vicious call-outs, which blunted progress on issue after issue. Instead of developing a functioning alliance, many of the leftist groups became what community organizer Betita Martinez has termed everybody's wrong except us organizations. She continues, I saw how extreme confidence and aggressiveness by people convinced of their self-righteousness could disrupt an entire movement, especially if they didn't realize or care about the consequences of their actions. Sometimes our stubbornness about being right fulfills a psychological need and lowers our anxiety. We like poking holes in others' thinking. I do, resulting in a competition of who can criticize more. This semantic violence can be preferred over actual changes in the distribution of power, resulting in symbolic statement rather than real change in power relationships. None of this internecine fighting won over a single opponent, nor did it bring on board a new wave of working-class Washingtonians. Instead, the backbiting, call-out-ridden culture kept outsiders outside. We didn't understand back then, she writes, that coalitions are by definition composed of people who have different ideas, tactics, and strategies, but who work together to achieve a common goal. We didn't realize that being united was more important than being right. Our infighting took our eyes off our opponents. Instead of retreating, they regrouped. Ross doesn't claim that call-outs are inherently bad or ineffective. Right? She points to Martin Luther and his 95 Theses posted on the door of the Castle Church in Wittenberg, or the American colonists challenging King George with the Declaration of Independence, or Frederick Douglass after escaping from slavery, highlighting the cruelty and hypocrisy of the peculiar institution for all Americans. She offers a long list of situations when calling out is what is needed. Yet it should never be the tool of first resort. It's the last resort after all other tactics have failed. The temperature is rising literally and in the social discourse all around us. As Ezra Klein comments, the nature of our politics right now is that it is ferocious. Our visions of what is good and even decent have diverged. The stakes of our politics right now are frightening, and the consequences are real. We see one another as threats, and to some degree, we are right. And it is also true that this country will be immeasurably worse if that is all we are to one another. If we cannot still see what binds us, if we cannot still feel ourselves as one body politic, we're going to have to live here with one another. There will be no fever that breaks, no permanent victory that routs or quiets those who disagree with us. He writes, I have watched many on both sides entertain that illusion that there would be, either through the power of social shame and cultural pressure, or the force of the state, or the force the state could bring to bear on those it seeks to silence. It will not work. It cannot work. It would not be better if it did. That would not be a free country. Each of us is convinced we're on the right side of history, and our silencing of the other is simply minimizing harm, while the other side, silencing us, is an expression of harmful violence of our basic human rights. Building bridges in this social climate, in this moment in time, is not some luxury we ought to consider in our spare time. Building bridges, building a sense of belonging is foundational to the future and survival of our civilization. It is so easy to rip things apart, to deconstruct, to destroy. We need to find ways to model the world we envision. We need bridge builders to walk onto the bridge with curiosity rather than fear, to risk vulnerability instead of armor, to make space for the possibility that we ourselves might be transformed. There's a quote on a church wall Loretta Ross mentions. It says, "A mind, like a parachute, only functions when it's opened." I believe the same is true for our hearts. So when our hearts are wide open, what would it feel like, look like, taste like? A society where belonging is not sameness, but shared humanity. A society where bridges are stronger than walls. A society where all of us, with our differences intact, can finally say, this is home. So may that be so. Amen and Ashe. Thank you for your generous support of last week's outreach offering to support the Concord Multicultural Festival happening today, right now, in Keach Park. Some of our congregation is already there. Today's community plate supports the nonprofit Thrive Survivor Support Center, which serves survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, elder abuse, stalking, child abuse, and human trafficking through advocacy and prevention education. Their services, such as emergency housing, support groups, and court appointment, are free and confidential for everyone. Their upcoming event, the annual Walk a Mile in Their Shoes, is a call to stand together in solidarity and compassion for commitment to a safer world. This year's walk will be held on October 8th and will raise money for Thrive's life-saving programs for survivors in our community. Our morning offering will now be gratefully received. It's good to have you back.
I can just do it again.
Even off that. May we be transformed by our giving. May the world be transformed by our gifts. Please rise in body or spirit to sing our closing hymn, number 95, in our gray hymnals. There's More Love Somewhere, and maybe there'll be lyrics on our screen, but probably not. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. More peace. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. More joy. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Go out into the world in peace. Honor one another. Listen with an open heart. Stay curious. Have courage. Be kind. Embrace the mystery. Welcome awe. And always listen the way of love. I now invite you to extinguish your chalice at home as Jim extinguishes our chalice here in the sanctuary.
That's all right. We're ahead of the game.
Please join me in reading aloud the words on our screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of this faith we share, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now please join me. Now please join me in singing our unison benediction. If you're comfortable joining hands or elbows, go ahead and reach out. And if not, reach out with your heart to all of us, worshiping with you, knowing that you are not alone. From you I receive, through you I live, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, through you I live, together we share, and from this we live. Let us go in peace, and let our service continue.